So good morning, everyone. Welcome to our class, Fundamentals of Real Estate Management. We are now in the week 2, which is the property manager's role. So I am your virtual class professor, Shireen and Gonzales of AB Cubao. So we have the session outline. At the end of the sessions, the students will be able to know the duties and responsibilities of property manager, understand the meaning of property management, and identify and understand the types of property managers. So what does a property manager do? So in managing a real property is very complicated. So you have so many things to uh, tend to do in doing such tasks. So if you're thinking about a career in a property management, or you are considering hiring property managers to oversee your rental property, it is beneficial to understand the wide range of roles and responsibility required of a property manager. So we have residential property management falls under the branch of real estate, so which is related to renting or leasing rental housing. So professional in these industries perform duties on behalf of the rental property owner while providing services to the tenants and the property. So on the surface, this means that uh, signing leases and collecting rents for an owner, but it's also highlight the questions, what else does a property manager really do? So with this kind of duties and responsibilities of this property manager, uh, it is very complicated because you are facing on the different tenants in this kind of business. So property managers are hired to handle the operations, maintenance, and administration of property rentals for an owner. So their work, among many other tasks, includes the marketing rentals and finding the renters. So ensuring rental rates are competitive while covering taxes and overhead. So collecting rent and complying with the rental laws. So with this, the exact responsibilities will vary based on type of property being managed by the property manager. So the amount they are getting paid and the terms of the management contract. So there are important roles of a property manager can take on to assist the rental property owners. So with this kind of responsibility that the manager, property manager is doing is that he oversee the total operations and maintenance and administrations of the property of the rental owners. So what is a property manager? Property managers are people that specialize in ensuring a rental is being operated according to the guidance given by the owner. So whether the goals be financial or based on providing attractive living conditions or both. So guidance can take different forms. Corporate property owners may issue mission and vision statements for their properties, while individual owners may give a verbal guidance on their goals for the property. So the manager makes sure that responsible tenants occupy the property, payments are received on time, budgets are followed, and the rental is maintained properly. Okay, so with this kind of task of the property manager, he makes sure that the tenants are uh, responsible for the monthly payments, and they have to make sure that the payment is on time. So you oversee also that the property or the rental is maintained. So let's move on to the 5 responsibilities of a property manager. So as you can see in the pictures that the property manager has many things to do. Okay, so he has to setting rent, collecting rent, screening tenants, property maintenance, and managing the budgets. Okay, for the rent, property managers assist owners with setting the right rent amount that will ensure the property is occupied by the quality tenants, and that will allow an owner to collect appropriate rental income. So we have an equally important role of a property manager is collecting rent and communicating any rent increases to tenants. Okay. So for this, the property manager see to it that he has to communicate with the tenants whether there is an increase of the rentals. Um, for the setting rent, property managers are familiar with the market rent prices in their area. So they have to understand how to evaluate a property features in order to find the best rent price that will help an owner capitalize on their investment and ensure it is always occupied. So with this, the basis of your monthly rentals is that you have to make sure that the rent prices in that area wherein your property is located, so hindi masyadong mataas yung rental prices ng property. Next is the collecting rent. So property managers create a policy for collecting rent from tenants that can include personal checks, online payments, certified funds, or cash that is mailed, drop off at a secure locations, or pick up in a person's. So rent collection comes down to which method results in the highest portion of prompt payments with the little amount of effort from both management and the tenant. So a property manager will also deal with late payments, unpaid rent, and the process of evicting a tenant due to non-payment of rent. So with this, the property managers have to make sure that there is an agreement between the owner and the tenants. So, so sa agreement na yon, it includes that the monthly dues, okay, so the total amount of rent, which is paid in 2 months advance or 1 month deposit. So with this, the property manager should create a policy with regards to collecting payments from the tenants. And also, the property manager encountered the delayed or the late payments or unpaid payments by the tenants. So with this, he has to make sure that all the payments in a monthly basis should be paid in a proper time so that there is no problem with regards to the property manager and the tenants. Sometimes kasi there are times na the tenants are existing, no? Nag-i-insist siya na he has paid he already paid the monthly dues. So as a property manager, make sure that can make an acknowledgement receipt or di kaya magbibigay siya ng official receipt doon sa tenants to avoid conflict in paying the monthly dues of the tenants. Next is the raising rent. So property managers will facilitate legal and appropriate communication with tenants regarding rent increases. So they will advise the owner on the pros and the cons of increasing rental prices in order to match market rates. So to pay for property maintenance or improvements to accommodate tax increases or to increase profits. So with this, with regards raising rent, the property manager should communicate to all the tenants that there is an increase in rental. So with this, kailangan meron siyang basis. Why is it na kailangan niyang magtaas ng rent with regards to sa mga improvements in his property. So a property management should have a clear rent collection procedure that outline collection policies, late fees, and how non-payment of rent will be handled, how outstanding tenant debts are handled, and how rental funds are paid out to the owners. So next is the tenants. So one of the primary responsibilities of a property manager includes all tenant-related issues, including finding and screening applicants, communicating and enforcing these terms, managing complaints, dealing with bad tenants, and proper handling of tenant funds. So for finding tenants, a property manager provides the necessary support to market vacant properties in order to find the most qualified tenants for the property. So a vacant property is always bad news for an owner, and a manager works hard to get the property rented as quickly as possible to a qualified tenants. So they have to put out the effort, post for rent signs, update online rental advertisement, host open houses, and communicate with the current tenants for qualified referrals. So in finding tenants, so kailangan the property manager should conduct a background investigations with regards to these tenants who will have na tawag dito, the tenants, kailangan ng property managers na mag-conduct ng background investigations para malaman niyo yung standing ng isang tenants. May mga tenants kasi minsan na so makabayad sila ng 1 to 2 months pero for the next month hindi na. So kailangan talaga na they see to it that this tenant is a good payer. Okay? So may mga qualifications pa with regards sa mga tenants. Next is screening tenants. So a manager will enforce the owner requirements for finding a qualified tenant. Who will pay rent on time, follow the lease terms, and take care of the property by performing the legal tenant screening. So legal tenant screening includes evaluating objective qualifications criteria like reliable income, employment verifications, credit check, criminal background, and positive rental history. So these are the things needed on how we screen the tenants. Okay? So kailangan, let us make sure that the tenants that we are going to occupy the property has a good standing or a good image so that hindi tayo magkakaproblema. So kailangan pa talaga iba-background check. So next is enforcing lease terms. So a manager will review the important lease terms with tenants during the lease signing process prior to residency. So a manager will communicate appropriately with the tenants if any violations occur and enforce the consequences during the lease term. So the lease agreement should include a policy for how the manager will handle the rule-breaking behavior and consequences for any violations and repeat offenders. So violations may incur a fine, null the contract, or be grounds for evictions. So with this, kailangan you have to explain to your tenants with regards to the lease agreement na nakasaad doon sa contract. So be sure that your tenant should follow all the policies na naka-include doon sa lease agreement. So you have to explain to the tenants if there is a violations may occur, so he or she will be evicted in the or maybe grounds for eviction. So hindi na siya makapagpatuloy ng rent niya doon sa property. Okay, so how we manage complaints. So managing complaints deemed as one of the biggest headaches of a property management. So dealing with tenant complaints can take up a lot of time and energy. So this is a very stressful na trabaho because you have dealings with the different problems by the tenants. So a complaining tenant may be voicing concerns about property maintenance or other community-related issues regarding tenants or neighbors. So a property manager may require tenants to submit a written notifications through email, correspondence, or an online tenant portal. So with this, the tenant should give a written notifications to the property manager so that his or her complaint mabigyan ng proper actions ng property manager. So, hindi natin yan maiwasan na merong mga tenants na talagang they are not satisfied with the maintenance of the property. So, kung ako isa sa mga tenants, so I am paying for the maintenance fee of the property. So, of course, kailangan ko rin na yung binayad ko ay mabigyan ng magandang serbisyo. Okay? So, kailangan with this kind of complaint, the property manager should know how to handle this kind of problems. Next is evictions. So even the best tenant screening can cause a few bad applies to slip through the cracks, leaving a property manager to deal with the legal side of asking a tenant to move out. So evictions are an incredibly lengthy process, and the right property manager will know the correct steps to take or to make everything is handled appropriately. So if the proper legal steps leading up to the evictions are not followed, the lawsuit should be dismissed in court, resulting in a wasted time and money. Okay, so this is the hardest part. During the screening time, so chine-check mo kung sino yung qualified or the best tenant na pwede mong makuha. Okay? But in terms of evictions, ito yung part na which is ito yung mahirap na part wherein one of your tenant will be evicted. So you have to know the correct steps, and every steps na gagawin mo may mga legal proper. Okay? Para hindi na kayo magkaso-kaso sa korte. Next is the tenant funds. A property manager collects rent payments and additional fees like late pays, pet fees, etc. So made by the tenants and responsible for distributing them to the owner or business accordingly. So a property manager must follow a federal and a state requirements regarding the trust accounting and a tenant security deposit. So basically, dito sa Philippines, with regards sa tenant funds, so mostly nakalagay doon sa lease agreement between the owner and the tenant is that they have to pay an additional fees doon sa maintenance fee ng property. Okay? So, kailangan nakasaad din doon sa lease of agreement, and then the property manager should explain to the tenants with regard sa mga additional fees na kailangan. Next is the property. So property managers are charged with the responsibility of the physical management of the rental property in regards to maintenance and repairs. In order to ensure the property remains in a livable conditions for current tenants and attractive rent-ready conditions for future tenants. Of course, to be attractive doon sa mga tenants, kailangan the property manager should maintain the physical aspects of the property. So let us consider number one is the maintenance. So maintenance, property managers will perform routine and preventive maintenance for the owner to make sure that the property remains in great conditions. So managers will perform maintenance tasks personally, so via on-site management or hire a vendor to perform the job. So maintenance can include landscape duties or Ivax servicing, exterior cleaning, animal proofing, gutter, and cleaning. Okay. So with this kind of task performed by the property managers, you should oversee the cleanliness of the areas or the properties. Okay? So kailangan meron siyang makukuha na tagalinis or tagalinis, and then they have to maintain also the in and out, labas at loob ng property. Next is the repairs. Should the property require any home repairs, a manager will communicate the issue with the owner and schedule a repairs pending approval. Okay, so common property managers repairs include plumbing and HVAC system repairs, broken railings, common area light bulb replacement. So repairs can be noticed by management during an inspection or brought to the manager's attention by them. Okay, so with regards to repairs, So the tenant, if there is, may na-notice na doon sa area or sa ina-occupy nila ng property, so he had to give notice to the property management that there is a need to be repaired. So kailangan um, he has to coordinate, the tenant should coordinate to the property managers with regards sa mga repairs. So after that, bago yan i-replace or i-repair yung certain area na yon, so kailangan mo na mag-conduct ng inspection, yung management. Magpapatunay na that there, kailangan talaga ng repairs. Next is the inspections. So a property manager will conduct regular inspections of the rental unit in order to identify any maintenance issues that need to be fixed before they become expensive repairs, and to ensure compliance with the tenant required maintenance. So rental property inspections may include move-in, move-out inspections. So seasonal inspections and drive-by inspections. Next is the turnover. So tenant turnover involves getting a property restored to rent-ready. Rent-ready conditions in between lease terms and collecting keys and leased property. And also refunding the past tenant's security deposit. So a property manager will enforce move-out dates and charge a tenant accordingly if he has not vacated the unit on the agreed upon date and time. So the vacated unit has to be inspected, cleaned, and restored back to the conditions it was and at the start of the prior lease term. So if the property owner wants to make additional improvements to the unit during that time, the manager can help coordinate and oversee the property maintenance. So in terms of turnover naman, okay, so if the tenants wants to move out, so kailangan he has to surrender the keys and he makes sure na all the things in that property ay still nasa tamang conditions yung mga gamit. Okay? And also the property manager see to it that upon leaving ng tenant, the unit or the property is in good condition. So kailangan para yung cleanliness ba, yung cleanliness ng area will be restored and in good conditions para in case na there is a tenant na gustong mag-occupy with that kind of unit is maganda pa yung condition ng isang unit. So the property manager should maintain the locate or the property. So kailangan maging clean ang area. Next, the owners. So property managers work directly with the rental property owners. They serve and must communicate relevant informations in regards to property performance, owner funds, and the legal issues. So with this, um, number one is the owner communications. So owner wants to inform about the performance of the investment property. So the property manager must actively communicate vacancy rates, income, and expenses related to the property, maintenance requirements, business policies, and any legal issues related to the property. So the property managers may choose to email, call, or provide online access to property performance portal, sometimes referred to as an owner portal. So property managers may also advise owners about the legal issues, setting rentals, rates, raising rent prices, or performing property maintenance or repairs. So with this, the property manager should communicate to the owners about the different issues with regards to his or her property. Next is acquiring new owners. So understanding the types of individuals who own rental housing helps property managers create usable profiles for their target audience. So these profiles establish the needs and wants of individual owners so the property manager can best serve them. So a property manager will be able to attract new business and retain clients by appealing to what the owner needs during their buying process for a right property. Next is the owner funds. And owner funds are usually considered rent payments collected by a property manager from a tenant that is then dispersed to the property owner. So in order to properly and legally handle owner funds, a property manager must understand the basic principles of trust accounting. So trust accounts for property managers are typically used to keep tenants' deposit and rent payments separate from operating capital. So a property manager must keep owner's fund separate from operating capital and follow the state guidelines on the timeline required to the deposit owner funds. So the property manager should have knowledge on the accounting process. So kailangan they know how to manage the funds of the owner. So last is managing the budget. So property managers can be responsible for managing the budget for the building and for maintaining all important records. So the manager must operate within the set budget for the building in a certain emergency situations when the occupants or the tenants or physical structures for investment property are in danger. They may use their judgment to order repairs or likewise without concern for the budget. So with this kind of responsibility of the property manager in handling uh, budget. So they have to, and that the property manager makes sure that uh, the budget with regards to the different operations in the property, kailangan magamit ng tama. So, he has to make sure na yung budget na merong siniset na budget para with regards sa maintenance and repairs of the property. Okay, so that's end my discussions.